So about a week ago, the kind folks over at Massdrop offered to send me this Varmilo VA87M mechanical keyboard, and I was like, whoa. Mint and chip keycaps? Ship it! But there were a number of other factors apart from the flashy keycaps that drew me to this board, like the fact that it uses genuine Cherry MX switches in your choice of black, brown, red, clear, white, green, click gray, and linear gray. I also admired the front printed legends on each of the keycaps, which keeps them from wearing out over time, while offering up a look of stealthiness. You do have the option of top printed legends, along with gray or white keycaps if the color scheme you see before you makes you want to varm it. The ballpark price of $118 seems fair for a decent mechanical keyboard these days, although there's a pretty good chance you can find it for much cheaper on Massdrop when it becomes available there, and I've put a direct link to the keyboard's product page on Massdrop in the video description below, so go ahead and check that out. But assuming you were going to pay top dollar, is the VA87M a worthy contender among the ever-growing competition? I suppose that all depends on what you're looking for. Perhaps the thing that surprised me most about this keyboard right off the bat was the solid weight and build quality. As intriguing as the pictures were online, they really couldn't do the keyboard justice when it came to showing off its sturdy construction. It's the same reason you can't tell how chiseled my abs are from merely watching this video. Everything from the plastic body to the etched keycaps indicate a high level of craftsmanship on par with some of the top-tier mechanical keyboards of today. The 10 keyless design keeps the board nice and narrow, while the super thin bezel of the plastic frame makes for a fairly small footprint, which is great for users with limited desk space. Yet despite its portability, I can't fully recommend this keyboard for travel due to its unforgiving weight. AirAsia was supposed to deliver a shipment of these keyboards last month. Let's hope they make it. Although it looks like a chump in size when standing against my K70, they seem to weigh about the same at around 4 pounds, give or take a few ounces, which means you'll definitely feel the added weight when tossing this into your bag. There's something to say about a heavy keyboard though. This one in particular feels entirely cemented to my desk when typing. Sure, most keyboards I come by don't have a problem with sliding around, but the disproportional size to weight ratio of this thing gives me a new feeling of stability from a board this size I wasn't expecting, and I have to say, it's quite nice. Fortunately, this characteristic holds true whether the keyboard lays flat or is elevated for an ergonomic incline by the 2 rubber fold-out feet on bottom. These serve alongside 5 additional rubber pads to keep the board anchored at all times. Also on the bottom facing the rear side is a mini B USB port to supply power to this keyboard with an included 5-foot rubber cable. Now I'm typically not a fan of removable cables with my keyboards due to the risks of wearing out that USB connection over time, but I was pleased to see left, right, and rear cable canals to minimize potentially detrimental cord movement. Taking a closer look at the keycaps, each of them is laser etched in gray using a nice simple font that really... Wait, hey, what is that? Is that Comic Sans? So for some reason the spacebar, which carries the branding on this board, is the only keycap using a different font from the rest, which happens to be Comic Sans. I'm not sure which 9-year-old decided that was a good idea, but I do think someone at Varmilo needs a timeout. I will concede this time around on the count of it being a minor aesthetic quirk. I should also mention here that the included keycap remover does not work on spacebars. You had one job. Because this keyboard only sports 108 keys, it does make use of secondary key functions for things like volume mute, up and down, multimedia playback, right mouse click, and Windows lock key. Oddly enough, both lock keys have a glossy indent on top that's most likely where the Windows logo sits for top-etched keycaps. Very happy to see Winlock on here though. This makes the keyboard all the more gaming friendly, although I do wish there was some sort of LED indicator to reveal its on-off state. Speaking of which, this keyboard does feature white LED backlighting, which can be adjusted to 4 varying levels of brightness, or turned off completely with the function and arrow keys. You can also choose to have this keyboard shipped without LED backlighting if you prefer less features? I found myself perfectly happy at level 2 brightness when typing in the dark, and felt like Gandalf the Grey was busting into my room at level 4. Okay, so it's not that bright, but certainly bright enough, and I think Gandalf would approve. Unlike most mechanical keyboards, the LEDs rest beneath the switches as opposed to being on top, and here you can see that the lower half of each keycap is semi-transparent in order to allow light to illuminate those laser-etched engravings. At level 3 and 4 brightness, the contrast between the light and the underlying keycap becomes much more apparent and creates a sort of jarring aesthetic I'm not a huge fan of. But like I said, level 2 is the highest I need to go in any scenario, so this is personally a drawback I can look past. Here we get a good look at the switch itself, and as you can see, I've been sent the sweet spot offering of Cherry MX browns. And typing on the VA87M is more or less what you'd expect from a board with this type of switch. The tactile bump is subtle yet detectable, and low force properties of the switch mean keystrokes are registered with minimal effort. I did do a quick sound test against my K70 with Cherry MX Reds, which are essentially brown switches minus the tactile bump. So go ahead, have a listen. And finally, I can't overlook the fresh Minty Keycaps themselves. They're comfortable to the touch and incredibly smooth. So smooth to the point that I noticed my fingers slipping around ever so slightly when typing up a storm. It's very possible this could be attributed to the keyboard not being fully broken in yet, with all of my natural skin oils that provide that extra bit of friction over time. There's a terrible joke in there somewhere. So where does this leave my overall opinion of the VA87M from Varmilo? Well, for starters, it comes in pretty much every Cherry MX switch available to suit your needs, as well as a variety of keycap and etching options. Avid desktop users without the need for a numpad or macro keys will also appreciate the heavy-duty weight and feel. Finally, if you can look past a few minor aesthetic choices, the build quality and performance fall right in line with other mechanical keyboards at this price point. And the fact that you're likely to find a killer deal of it on Massdrop is all the more reason for my firm recommendation. Before you guys go, toss me a like on this video if you found it helpful, and check out the links in the description below for more info on this keyboard, as well as other ways you can help support the channel. I'm Kyle with Awesome Sauce Network. Thank you guys for watching, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.